Alright, we're back with the level 2 beginner guitar course with me, Rex Pearson. I hope you've signed up to the website and you've done a bit of sharing if you've used these lessons and you've got something out of them. What we're working on here is 2 more open position chords which are going to fill up your knowledge base, and you're going to have 2 more to add to your chord library. The first one being a G major chord and the second one being C major. But before we do that, I want to introduce this idea of warming up. It's quite important now, as you're getting more and more experience with chords and songs. You'll find that when you first come to sit with a guitar and you start playing, you're not going to be loose enough, ready enough to attempt some of the chords, and it can be a little discouraging because you sit with a guitar, you knew that you had it, the day before, and you try and play a chord and it's gone to pot and it doesn't sound right at all, and it's discouraging. What that more than likely is to do with is the fact that your hands aren't warmed up. It's just like if you were trying to do a sprint and you just literally walked out the door and tried doing a 100-meter sprint. You're not going to be able to do as well as if you've warmed up, you've done some bit of training, and you've done some, got the muscles loosened up. So we need to do the same thing on an instrument as well. It's all to do with conditioning. So here's a little exercise that will help warm up your left, your right hands, and also get this idea of using the 2 at the same time, which is a bit of a problem with some, synchronizing the 2 hands. Okay, I call it the spider exercise. It's not my exercise, it's just something that I used to do quite a lot. What you have is a simple idea that is very easy to memorize, but works both hands really well. Now I'm going to zoom in on the fretboard here so that you can see what I'm doing with my left hand. Then I'm going to show you what I'm doing with my right hand afterwards, okay? So let's zoom in on the left. First finger, 5th fret, just behind the fret as normal. Remember, you've got to do correct fretting for every stage of this. What you're going to do is you're going to do a downstroke on this finger and play that note, which is going to be an A. Then what you're going to do is bring in the 2nd finger, place it on the fret above it, release the 1st finger, play this note. Then the next move is to bring in the 3rd finger on the fret above that, which is the 7th fret, release the 2nd finger as you do it. And then the 4th finger is going to come down just behind the fret and you release the 3rd finger. And that's the exercise. Then you move it down a string and you repeat the process. So we go to the A string and then we play the 1st fret. That's the 5th fret there, which is a D. Then you bring in the 2nd and make sure you're releasing each finger as you do this. Then the 4th. And you can see where it's going. You carry on up the fretboard. What you'll find is as you get faster at this, the hand starts looking a bit like a spider. It starts looking like a spider. Now obviously don't play faster than you are able to comfortably play. Very important that you use a metronome and play at a speed that is comfortable to get clear sounding fretted notes. Even if it's much slower than that, you are playing at a correct speed and not practicing mistakes, which is something I see all the time. People going too fast and going something like, and it sounds awful, but they're sort of playing it quite fast, but then they wonder why it doesn't sound great when they try and play with a band or something and the frets all over the place. And speed will come with that perfection that you've worked on there. Okay, so you've worked on the left hand. Well, you've got an idea of at least how it goes. The right hand should be alternate picking each note. If you were on the course so far, you would know that on the previous lesson I introduced this idea of alternate picking. That's what I want you to do on this spider exercise. Every single note should be alternate picked. Down on the first note, up on the next, down on the next, up on the next. Then you move string and it's going to be a downstroke. Take it nice and slow and remember to release each finger as you bring it down because you're introducing finger independence. A lot of guitarists I see sometimes putting all 4 fingers down and they're all still fretting at the same time. You don't want that. It's a lot of pressure on the hand and it's not necessary to keep them down, because what you're training yourself to do is to be able to play single note lines, and you need your fingers to be available, not fretting when they don't need to be. So each note, release each finger. It'll take a little while to get used to doing that because there's quite a lot of movement going on in the fingers there. Take it nice and slow and it will come, I guarantee you, it will get there. So alternate pick your notes, play across the strings, and try keeping that up until you get bored basically. And it's a very easy exercise to do. Try and do at least 5 minutes before you then try and tackle chords or something that involves a lot of technique playing. Okay, so that is the spider exercise. Spider exercise, okay? Make sure that you're using a metronome so that each note is evenly spaced. So you don't have, something odd like that, some weird rhythm. Okay, 2 chords then. We're going to run through them fairly quickly because hopefully by now you've got a good idea of how we run through chords and how we build them up one by one. First chord we're looking at is a G major chord, first finger. I'm going to zoom in on the fretboard so you can see what I'm talking about, and then we're going to work on this G major chord and then C major chord, and then you guys will be ready to rock.